Grazie.
Applauso, fatelo, siete amici, come se fosse, eccolo qui sul palco. Vi ricordo dopo anche andate a fare un giro al Fab Lab, ci sono un sacco di esposizioni interessanti, godetevele e date un'occhiata a tutto quello che c'è attorno. Buon lavoro!
Okay, thank you very much. So, as it has been told, we'll take this in English. I hope that you all understand. And if you don't, you can ask me, and we can try to explain it in Italian. So, I have a question to start to everyone. Do you consider yourself rich or poor? Who is poor over here? Please raise your hands up. Nobody is poor. Do you consider yourself rich? What do you consider yourself? Well, let's try to see what the world today looks like. So, basically, please stand up. Okay, come on, everyone. Stand up. Okay, there are about 10 persons here, right? Let's say a little bit less. So, please split into two. Split into two. On the other side, yeah, okay. So, there are, it's now 50 and 50%, right? So, two of you guys, can you go there? Okay. So, basically, it's very interesting to know that the one who is not here, so the 0%, well, it's about 6%, owns everything what they own, okay? So, basically, as I said, 6% of the people own 59% of the world's wealth, okay? So, the one who's not there, so probably you or whoever, owns 59% of the world's wealth. While 74%, which means the people over there, own about 39% of the world's wealth, of the world's richness. Pardon? Yeah. And 20%, so one person out of five owns only 2% of the world's wealth, which is the people in the developing countries. So I hope that this should make you understand a little bit if you consider yourself rich or not. So we actually are rich, because only 6% of us owns 60% of the world's wealth, and so on. And thank you very much. So, by having said this, we can start with our questions. So, question number one. There's over 7 billion people in the world today. There are more people that own mobile phones compared to those who own toothbrushes. Is this true or false? If it's true, please stand up. If it's false, please sit down. Okay, so I repeat once again the question. So there are over 7 billion people in the world. There are more people that own mobile phones compared to those who own toothbrushes. So you're not convinced, are you? You're not convinced. So, well, thank you. Actually, it's true. An estimated 4 billion people own mobile phones, but only around 3.5 billion own toothbrushes. But I said this because you have to consider about the waste, e-waste, that is considered. How much do we need to produce a mobile phone? And where do mobile phones end up in the end? It's very important to think about this. Okay. Question number two. People with no access to safe drinking water are increasing. True or false? Okay, apparently 100% of the people thinks that people with no access to safe drinking water are increasing. Well, actually it's false. People with no access to safe drinking water are decreasing. However, the number is still too high, as around 650 million people in the world have no access to drinking water. But they are decreasing, which is good. Thank you. So, question number 3. According to some sources, glass on landfill does not decompose at all. So if you put your beer can or beer glass on the ground, it will never decompose, even in 1,000 years. Is it true or false? So if it's false, just sit down, otherwise stand up. It's difficult, huh? Okay. I'll repeat the question. So, according to some sources, glass on landfill doesn't decompose at all. So, true or false? It's true? So, stand up, please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are at about 30%, right? Actually, it's true. So, I'm sorry for the 70%. So, according to some studies, while being difficult to scientifically prove it because of its time-consumingness, glass apparently never decomposes. So I think it's really important for us to think whenever we throw on the ground the glass that it will stay there for 10,000 years or even more, apparently. It will just... Okay. Okay. So our Russian scientist made a very smart question. So she said, "What kind of decomposition? I mean?" So it's basically, yeah. If you think about the particles of glass, even they will break down, which makes sense, okay, because they are, subject to. There will be some forces that will destroy it. They will still be there, you know, even in those small particles. But I wanted to take this as an example when you say, okay. Let's think about about the fact that we could leave the can on the ground for 1,000 years or 10,000 years. It would stay there no matter what. So this is something we have to think about. Okay, thank you. Okay, the 4th one. If we covered the whole Europe with photovoltaic panels, it would be more than enough to meet the entire world energy demand. So if we take Europe and cover it with photovoltaic panels, it will be enough to power the whole world with photovoltaic energy. True or false? Well, apparently 60% says yes, okay? Well, what do the others think? You're not convinced about it? Not too much. Okay. Well, false. If we supplied only the country of Spain with photovoltaic energy, it would be enough to satisfy the global energy needs. So the potential is therefore enormous. We don't need Europe. We don't need such a huge surface. Spain is enough. Well, Italy, more or less. Pardon? Yeah, exactly. So it's much less than what we thought. Well, I'm just considering now about the surface, right? But if we could take the average irradiance of the sun on the Earth and we would take the surface more or less as Spain, it would be more than enough to power the whole world with photovoltaic energy. So think about the potential. Okay. Question number 5. It takes 45 years in order for plastic bottles to decompose. So for plastic bottles, it takes about 45 years. Yeah, I repeat again. It takes 45 years in order for plastic bottles to decompose. True or false? So whenever we take our stuff made here, and if we leave them on the ground, in 60 years they will be over or not? What's your opinion? True or false? I repeat again. It takes 45 years in order for plastic bottles to decompose. True or false? So everybody thinks it's false. It's false or true? So, is there anybody who thinks it's true? You seem pretty convinced. No. So it's false? Okay. It's false. Very good. It takes 450 years for plastic bottles to decompose. So 10 times more. Okay. Question number 6. Wind energy can be harvested nearly everywhere, in valleys, mountains, and on sea. So we can put wind turbines basically on the sea, on the mountains, in valleys, and everywhere. Is it true or false? Sure. Wind energy can be harvested, so can be put basically everywhere. We can put wind turbines basically everywhere. So in valleys, on the sea, on the mountains, and everywhere. Is it true or false? So you think it's true? It depends on different things, but apparently it's true. We can put it everywhere, right? So only 10% of the persons. 20? 30, 40? Okay. Well, actually it's true. Wind energy can be suitable for any kind of landscape and it can be put offshore. That's why you can see wind turbines everywhere, on the sea, on mountains, even close to villages or cities. Obviously, there are some places where conditions are better, but other places where conditions are worse, right? But yeah, virtually, you can put it everywhere. Okay. Question number 8. Ocean energy can be either driven by tides or by capturing the motion of waves. So whenever we use ocean energy, we can put it either if they are put on the waves or for the tides. The tide, so when the sea is higher or lower. Is it true or false? 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50? Okay. Well, 50 is, people are not too sure though. Okay. True. Pardon? We're talking about ocean energy only. I didn't mention any biomass. Well, I just said about the motion of the waves and so on. We can discuss about it later. So true. There are several technologies today that can be used to make electricity from waves or tides. So you can either put like different generators on the waves, so by the motion of the sea, or to put some turbines in the sea. So these are the different technologies today. Next one. 2015 was the world's hottest year for the last 100 years. True or false? Sure. 2015 was the world's hottest year of the last 100 years. True or false? So do you think that last year it was the hottest year of the last 100 years? So everybody thinks no. You think so, yeah. 2, 3, 40%, 50, yeah? Okay. True. 2015 was the hottest year on track since the measurements started in the late 19th century. But the issue is that 2016 outperformed 2015 in the first 4 months. So we are now even 20% more than 2015. Yeah, so the question was, how do we measure the heat? Actually, these are the measurements from the global average temperature. So I'm talking on global level. This was the highest. Well, these are trackings from all over the world. Once again, the question was, how do we measure that? Well, with all the records that we have from all over the history. And so there are different average temperatures in all over the world. And so by considering that, we are measuring the average temperature. Yes, so the question is, the average temperatures all over the world? Yes. So the global average temperature. Yeah. Next question. The current global average temperature is 2 degrees above the average temperature of the pre-industrial era, so the mid-19th century. True or false? Are we now 2 degrees above the average temperature that was in the 19th century? True or false? So it's about 50%. Once again, not everyone is convinced, so it's still a little bit of confusion on this. Well, actually, it's false. The current global temperature increase is 1.5 degrees compared to the pre-industrial levels, whereas 2 degrees are considered to be the upper limit for avoiding climate catastrophes. So we have to be very careful about it. Even though we see now that it's very, very hot, it's actually 1 more degree more needed if we want to reach the limit, the upper limit. So think about the situation where we are now. Okay. So, next question. In the past 500 years, humans have consumed more resources than in all previous history. True or false? I repeat again. In the past 500 years, humans have consumed more resources than in all previous history. True or false? Okay. The majority thinks that in the last 500 years we have consumed more compared to the last 200 years, 2 million years, right? Well, actually, it's false. In the last 50 years, humans have consumed more resources than in all previous history. Okay? So the impact that we made from the 60s on was bigger than everything that we did in the last 2 million years. Okay? How much more time do we have? Okay. Apparently this was the last question, so I thank you again for your participation and see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.